In this video, I'll talk about solubility rules for ionic solids. Subscribe to this channel and watch the video until the end. What's solubility? Consider this beaker. It contains 100 grams of water at 25 degrees Celsius. Experimentally proved that 100 grams of water can dissolve a maximum of 200 grams of sugar. Means that 200 grams of sugar can only dissolve in 100 grams of water. Again, 100 grams of water can dissolve a maximum of 36 grams of sodium chloride. Finally, 100 grams of water can dissolve a maximum of 140 grams of potassium iodide. It is okay to dissolve 3 grams of sodium chloride in 100 grams of water. Again, it is so simple to dissolve 30 grams of sodium chloride in 100 grams of water, but it's difficult to dissolve the whole 36.5 grams of sodium chloride in 100 grams of water. From 36.5 grams of sodium chloride, only 36 grams of sodium chloride dissolved in 100 grams of water. 0.5 grams of sodium chloride is undissolved, it remains at the bottom. Therefore, solubility is the maximum amount of solute dissolved in 100 grams of solvent at a given temperature. Now, let us talk about solubility rules for ionic solid. The first rule about group 1 and ammonium ion. Group 1 metal ions, sodium ion, lithium ion, potassium ion, rubidium ion, cesium ion, and francium ion. Actually, francium atom is an radioactive element. They are group 1 metal ions, and ammonium ions, any salt that contains group 1 metal ions and ammonium ions are soluble in waters. Any salt that contains group 1 metal ions and ammonium ions are soluble in water. Now let me talk about the second rules. The second rules talks about 3 ions: acetate ion, nitrate ion, and perchlorate ions. Any salt that contains these 3 ions, such as acetate ion, nitrate ion, perchlorate ion, generally they are soluble in water. The third rules about halogens: chloride ion, bromide ion, and iodide ions. Any salt that contain chloride ion, bromide ion, and iodide ion are soluble. But there are exceptional salts that contain chloride, bromide, and iodide are insoluble. For example, silver chloride, silver bromide, and silver iodide are insoluble. At the same time, lead chloride, lead bromide, and lead iodide are again insoluble. Copper chloride, copper bromide, and copper iodide are also insoluble. Mercury chloride, mercury bromide, mercury iodide are also insoluble. Except these 4 ions, the rest, chloride, bromide, and iodide salts are soluble. All fluorides are soluble. Once again, all fluorides are soluble. But there are exceptional. Lead to fluoride and group 2 fluorides are insoluble. Except these two, that means lead fluoride and group 2 fluorides, group 2A metal fluorides, they are insoluble. The rest fluoride are soluble. Group 2 fluorides, group 2 metal fluorides, barium fluorides, magnesium fluorides, calcium fluoride, strontium fluoride, barium fluoride, and radium fluoride. Actually, radium is radioactive element. These fluorides are insoluble. Out of this fluoride, all fluorides are soluble, but these fluorides are insoluble. Now let me talk about the fourth rule. The fourth rule talk about sulfate. All sulfates are soluble. Any salt that contain sulfates are soluble, but it is also exceptional, except barium sulfate, strontium sulfate, lead sulfate, calcium sulfate, silver sulfate, and mercury sulfate. All sulfate are soluble. These sulfate are insoluble. Barium sulfate, strontium sulfate, lead sulfate, copper sulfate, silver sulfate, and mercury sulfate are insoluble. The rest sulfate are soluble. The last rules. All carbonate, CO3 minus 2, all hydroxides, OH minus 1, all oxides, O2 minus, and all phosphates, PO4 minus 3, are insoluble in water. Any salts that contain this compound are insoluble in water. But there are exceptions here again. Group 1 metal ions and ammonium ions are soluble with this compound. Group 1 metals and ammoniums with carbonate, with hydroxides, and with oxides and phosphate are soluble. Except group 1A metal ions and ammonium ions, these compounds are insoluble in water. Thank you. I'll come with another video.